Greetings everyone, and great here for another Advanced Wars Daisy Ruin Tiny Wars replay. Spawn on the left side as the red Waylon. We got Viridisviperz, which is that name well enough. Spawn on the right side as the turquoise Cyrus. We got T-Lord. When it comes to the COs, looks like a recent update turned the improved boarding costs green to highlight that. That's a nice little quality of life update. Like, hey, notice this buff here. Waylon does have, of course, reduced boarding costs, costing 30%. Probably pretty good for a defense air specialist, since moving up in air units is quite expensive. CO zone radius 2, 30, 60, 60. His day-to-day passive, he of course gets the default plus 10 for all units. Additionally, his air units gets plus 20% offense and 40% defense, effectively rounding them up to 50% defense and 30% offense for his air units in total. His superpower, of course, puts up to a plus 300% defense, which makes him takes 75% less damage. Something significant, but it's not bulletproof. He's not a heavy weapons guy. Cyrus, of course, is a custom CO, even though he is a character from the cartridge game. Has standard boarding, 50%, 3, 30, 60, 60. All units gets plus 15, so some of the penny. And his superpower is he unloads a CO unit, makes it unleveled, not veteran leveled. Your CO unit can be reloaded to any unit for no boarding costs, and then it allows you also to fire off a missile by a 2 damage missile. Nice and simple, very versatile, and great way to have your wounded CO unit or weak CO unit be loaded in another unit for no additional cost. So it allows you to start upgrading your CO unit just by reloading something else. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. This map is a fog war map, double base, airport. Both players do start with a temporary airport. Very nice. In addition, there is a comm tower in the corners. Of course, their initial game is going to be just capturing the properties. Even though I don't really cover much about the initial capture game all too much, but I think Waylon, he's putting units to go around behind before pushing out, and maybe better to push outwards first. He sent 2 infantry units to these backline properties. 1 will make sense, 2 probably not so much. We do now have double bike on the field versus just 1 bike. But I think just sending 1 infantry in the back there to capture this property, because once an infantry unit captures both these properties, we'll need time to get back to the front line. So maybe potentially APC or transport copter, but even then, those are not very common. Or should I say rig rather than APC. We got a rig by Waylon. Yeah. Which this APC can, or rig can deploy out another temporary airport for Waylon, so hopefully Waylon more utilizes that aspect. He's also pushing towards this comm tower. This bike should be able to reach it this turn. We also got a recon up here, and tank here as well. So it looks like Turquoise is doing a much better job. Cyrus COs the tank as well. I feel like Turquoise is in a much better position at the moment. Right now their economies are sitting pretty even, but Turquoise will get 3 more properties next turn. Not to mention the comm tower, so that's 4 more properties. And Waylon has gone for the anti-air, which he's fighting against Cyrus, who doesn't have to rely on aircraft as much, or would like to utilize aircraft as much as, say, Waylon would. Command tank charge way forward, but there's nothing in the area to really threaten it, or really to have the command tank fight against. Gets trapped with the APC. Damage the unit on top of the comm tower. Got a battle copter there. Probably going to load up a CO unit. Anti-air next to recon. And the CO unit gets on top of the HQ, getting plus 4% firepower, plus 80% defense. But Waylon has his copter here, and it's going to be a command copter next turn. So the CO unit may have been a little bit too reckless. Does not load up a CO unit inside the copter. I was not expecting that. Go ahead and spawn another battle copter in here up there. And Cyrus now reload up his CO unit inside the battle copter. Not a bad idea. Does damage rig there, preventing it from pulling a temporary airport down here. Or just pull the temporary airport somewhere over here. Temporary airports do offer hiding to see here. We don't see the whole lot right now. Good strike on there on the tank. And as well as on the tank. Does find some more infantry units there. Takes out that one unit. Bike pushes forward a little bit. Waylon has his own comm tower up there. And still no CO unit loaded up by Waylon just yet. T-copter. I don't think he's going. Is he going to load up his command unit inside T-copter? Takes out a couple good units there. Lots of losses for Waylon right now. Battlecopter tank ain't here. He's getting back down time. I start covering the turn by turn. Waylon's at 22,000, which is enough for pulling out a bomber. Bombers are reduced in Days of Ruin, costing 20,000. Yep, time for me to go by turn. Income's only different by 1,000. This despicable neutral property is pretty much the key difference right now. Transport copter did head up north. Not sure the T-copter's heading up north. He already has a bike there, capturing that one city. I can see somewhat going down here since he doesn't have those properties secured. Good strike there. Cyrus getting some good gains. Has a CO power available. Could probably eye for expensive unit to load up a CO unit into. Perhaps a bomber. It doesn't see any targets for that missile though. Does go for dusters. It may load up into a duster. He is fine against Waylon, so duster's not a bad idea. But right now Waylon is pretty far behind. He's about over a turn and a half behind his opponent. And some good properties down south. He is winning the flanks, that's for sure. But the core is loaded T-copter does get trapped there. CO's the battlecopter. Puts on top of the temporary airport. Small victories here. Takes out the capturing squads. Tank ain't here. It does have a flare over there. Fires the missile down there to help interrupt the captures, but this will not interrupt the capture any further. We'll interrupt this one down here. See, he can load up a CO unit into another unit. It is going to be into the duster. Good strikes there. Takes out some of these outlying units there. T-copter gets hit. Waylon now has 25,000 stored on up. Command copter is available. Gets a strike there. Remember, he has going to fight against plus 15 this turn. Goes for a full bomber. Does not charge for his battlecopter. Duster's range. Maybe it will range the bomber? Don't think so, though. Yeah, it would just also just one tile out of range. Couple good hits there. T-copter blocking this path, but the anti-air can easily take it out. Interrupts the column tower capture, so Waylon will not get that. Finish off a lot of outlying units. Battlecopter there. Waylon needs to make sure that Command Duster gets hit by the anti-air. That's the only thing he can do to fight against it. He's at 61,000 versus 130. He is severely behind. Gets trapped. Flare there. Battlecopter gets good strike. Does not use the anti-air to gauge the Duster. Gets up that unit. It probably would have been better to have a bomber clean up the infantry than let the anti-air take out the Duster. There is, of course, also this anti-air that's max vet. Out of his range, goes for his own Duster, but this max vet anti-air will destroy the bomber. And not to mention the... Yeah. That won't do severe damage. The extra defensive Waylon will take both those units, take out the bomber. Decides just to throw some basic rounds into it, which is not bad. Bakes and knocks it out. Should have took out the command copter before taking on the battle, before the bomber, because the extra defense did play a role. And right now, just looks like a bit of a clean sweep. The H2 capture can be interrupted by the flare and/or bike. Waylon does have his own Duster on the field. He's going to need a CO it, probably. Good strike down the anti-air. Now the bomber can only be shot down by the Duster, which is going to be a reasonable opportunity for him. Does get out another bomber in the field. Looks like he's getting a little bit desperate trying to mount bombers. Doesn't have enough to even build out infantry in the back line. Blair does take a hit there. Nice little merge there. So he's going to have to put a lot of firepower on that. As that 5 capture progress. It will probably have to be that both the Duster and the bomber take on the HQ infantry there. Sacks the it does interrupt the capture there. Fully stops the capture. Does not seal the bomber. Medium tank, regular tank. Muscle strike there. Put some rounds on the bomber. And I forgot to mention as well, Cyrus has put out a full fighter and redeploy a CO unit in there. Another Duster, a couple more bikes. Does get on the temporary report, pulls out his own fighter there, in which I think Dust would have been. I think right now the resign button should be the button he should be eyeing. Right now it's at 41,000 versus 153. And does go and resign there. This Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.